Hey there, it's Dan over at Loxo with a quick look at the layout of the Loxo account settings page, otherwise more simply known simply as the settings page. You're going to find it's very intuitive. So let's take a quick look. When you log into your Loxo account, as you know, there's a navigation bar over here on the left-hand side, and you're going to go all the way to the bottom and click on the button that has your initials here. So I'm going to click on DH. And this is where you're going to be able to find the settings page. If you simply scroll down in this drop-down list to right here, click settings to access your Loxo account settings page. It's very intuitive, and I want to preface what we're going to discuss here by saying that this is going to be a high-level view of the layout of this page. We're not going to go blow by blow through each of the functionality here and turn this into a large-scale training. We have a customizations webinar that I lead every Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, and there is a video version in the playlist of training videos where I go into a lot of the finer detail about customizing all aspects of your Loxo account. So a good amount of the instruction for the features that you're going to see here will be found in the customizations webinar, in addition to the 101 basic training, where at the start we talk about 4 basic setup best practices. A lot of that you'll find on the settings page as well. But I think as we go through the various buttons here on the settings page, you'll find it very intuitive to work your way through all of these customizable options and reach out to us at support if you need some best practice advice on any of the things that I'm going to point to here in this discussion. All right, so on the settings page, there's basically 3 areas on the left-hand column here. First, the My Settings area. Everybody who's logging into your account will be able to see and access all of the buttons here to make their personal configuration options. Now below that, if you're an admin on your account, you'll be able to access the 2 areas, My Agency and Billing. Okay, so this is for admins only. This area up top is for everybody. All right, so let's start at the My Settings area. You know, in the 101 training, I talk at length about the process of syncing up your work email, syncing up your work calendar, and adding your email signature into Loxo. So if you click on synced emails, you're going to be able to sync up your work email address, your work email account with your Loxo account. And it's a 2-way sync, so you'll be able to see all of your Loxo related emails in your work inbox and also in Loxo. All right, so again, check out the 101 training for the process of syncing up your work email. Then synced calendars allows you to sync up your work calendar with your Loxo account. So if you create tasks, let's say in Loxo, you can push those out of Loxo, or they will be pushed out automatically onto your calendar, whether you're using Outlook or Google Calendar or what have you at your place, right? Now, one thing about the calendar sync is it's a 1-way sync, which means we can push, but we cannot pull. We can push events out of Loxo, like tasks, onto your work calendar, but we're not going to be able to pull in like events from your work calendar and display them over here in Loxo. So push, but not pull. Then we talk about in the 101 copy and pasting in your email signature under signature here, and simply hit the save button. And that way, anytime an email goes out of your account when you're logged in, it always contains your email signature down at the bottom, so they know how to get in touch with you. Now below that, you can also, under the My Settings area, when you're logged in, create email templates. This is basically prefab content, pre-written emails. And again, we'll go through this in some of the other trainings, but basically you'll use the add button up here to create a prefab email. And whenever you're on the email templates button here, you'll be able to see a list of all of the prefab, pre-built email content that you've built previously. And whenever you're creating an email in Loxo, there is always a template drop-down button so that you can access these pre-written emails and drop in the content into the email as you're creating emails. One of the other great things in Loxo is you can also create forms that you use all the time. So use the add button at the upper right to begin creating forms in your account that you're going to be using over and over again, like a candidate intake form or some kind of an interview form, a non-disclosure agreement form, this kind of thing. You can easily create the forms using the add button here. And whenever you're creating an email in Loxo, you'll also have a form link merge tag available to you. So you'll be able to drop in the link to the form into the body of an email. And when they click on that link in the email, it opens up that form. They complete the form, hit save, it saves that form onto their profile in Loxo. So it'll pay off big time for you to take the time involved in creating forms that you'll then be able to access and send around through the email system in Loxo. All right, now below that, email automations. Now we cover this at length in the other trainings, but basically it's easy to create automated emails that will go out to candidates as they hit certain stages in the job pipeline for the job in question. So again, you can track the Loxo 101, 102, and 103 trainings. And this is where in the 103, where I cover email automations and show you how to create those. So you'll use the blue add button at the upper right and walk through the process of putting together those automated emails, which is actually very intuitive. All right, now below that, if you click phone, this is where you can basically decide whether you're going to be receiving incoming calls in Loxo or not by flipping the switch on or off here. And you can also set up an internal voicemail greeting within Loxo if you're not able to pick up the telephone. Okay, now below that, email read receipts, you can set it up here by flipping the switch to receive an email notification when an email that you've sent through Loxo has been opened or downloaded by simply flipping the switch there to receive those notifications. Now below that, voicemail templates, very much like email templates. You can create voicemail templates by using the add button here and have those available to you for use in Loxo. Similarly, you can create text message templates, just like you can create email templates. So anytime that you send a text message in Loxo, if you've got a particular text message that you're going to be sending over and over again every day, it makes sense to take a couple of seconds to hit the add button, create the text template. And when you're creating a text message in Loxo, you'll be able to drop in the templated content so you don't have to spend that time typing that text message every single time. Now below that, you can also add a profile picture for your account if you wish, a logo, let's say. And you can also add person note templates. Now, this has to do with the brand new user interface on the profile page or flyover page. You know, there is a tab on the right-hand column of the flyover page now called Notes. And basically, you can create prefab note templates like phone screening questions that you're going to be using all the time, or sort of a master list of interview questions that you use when you're screening out candidates kind of thing. Anytime that you want to have a templated list of questions or a note that's available to you when you're chatting with someone on the telephone in Loxo, hit the add button and you can create those and save those. And again, that way, when you are on a candidate's profile page and you've clicked on the note tab on the right-hand column, you can easily access those templates on the fly when you've got someone, let's say, on the telephone. All right, now below that, let's go to the area called My Agency. Again, if you're an admin, these are all things that you're going to be able to configure for your account. Now, the Users button is where you will see a list of all of the folks on your team who are logging into your Loxo account. And this is where, as an admin, you can add members, add team members that are logging into your account. You can delete members, you can make them admins, you can edit their general information. So here in this demo account, you can see a list of all the Loxo employees on our team that are logging into this demo account. And fundamentally, when you hit the add button up here to add someone to your team here in Loxo, you're going to enter in their name and their email address. If you want to, you can also include their preferred phone number, like their cell phone or their work desk number, if you guys still have a phone system on a desk in an office, or maybe their home number, right? So for every person you add, you can indicate their preferred phone number. And if they happen to be a sales representative on your sales team, then as an admin, you can enter in their annual sales deal target level, right? So if Jack is a sales rep here, and we're expecting him to pull in $600,000 a year in closed deals, I would enter in 600,000 as the annual target amount for this sales representative. Again, totally optional. Now, to the right of that, if the person you're adding, you want to give them admin rights in the account, put a check mark there. If not, leave that unchecked. And then hit the save button to add this person into your account, or if you make any changes, to save the edited information that you've added. And if Jack quits or for some reason gets fired or something like that, you can use the delete button to delete this person as a user who is logging into your account. That's it. Easy to manage your crew, your team of users in Loxo. Now below that, in addition to entering everybody individually into the account, you can set up different teams, right? So for example, in our example here, we have a London office at Loxo, we have the global sales team, we have the administration team, we have team leaders, then we have a couple of other examples we just put in here for demo purposes like team 1 and Nick's test group and this kind of thing. Basically use the add button to add the team name. And you can then at that point start to add the members of the team. You can use the edit button or the delete button to delete the team going forward. So again, for certain of our users, this is a very, very cool feature. For a lot of our users, this is totally irrelevant and they're like, we don't have separate teams, Dan. They would have separate accounts. Why would, this kind of thing. But depending on the structure of your organization, you might have separate teams that are logging into Loxo and you want to sort of distinguish them appropriately. Now below that, the customize button. Now this is a big can of worms, as they say. We have an entire customization webinar that I lead every Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, where I spend about 45, 50 minutes going through this button alone. So I'm not going to go blow by blow here, but let's just take a quick look at some of the things that you can customize as an admin on your account. When you're here, you can start to set your preferences, like your default currency. We have users all over the world, so users in different countries have different currencies. You can set your default country. Where are you located? You can set your preferred email automation behavior. You can set your job listing display order, like how is it displayed, by published date or by job title. You can set your default time zone where you're located. You can set your text message response notification preference. You can set up your account so that it automatically merges duplicates that we've identified in your database based on their email address. So you can have it automatically merge duplicates for you. You can also have the system send an email whenever there is a person ownership change with regard to a candidate in your database of people. You can also have Loxo automatically track whenever someone gets an email from Loxo, whether they open that email, whether they clicked on your link in that email, whether they downloaded your content that's found in that email for each email that is sent out. If you have that flipped to on, Loxo will automatically track the opens, the clicks, and the downloads for every single email going out of your account. You can also set it up so that your agency logo is displayed in the navigation bar up here at the upper left. You can also have it set up so that the candidate biographical blurb or sketch is displayed in the client view when you invite a hiring manager or a client to view the job pipeline for a particular candidate. You can also have it set up so that when a hiring manager is using the client view tool, that the candidate details will be displayed for them in that same client view that you've invited them to. You can also allow clients to download the candidate resume in the client view if you prefer, if you want to provide them with that option. And finally, you can set it up or configure it such that notifications are sent whenever a placement is updated. So whenever you update the job pipeline when someone has been hired, and you fill out the placement details, you can have notifications sent so everybody knows that the candidate has been placed. Below that, you can add your agency logo and you can update it or remove it if it changes, let's say. And here's where you can set your Loxo outreach campaign operating hours for your account, kind of the global operating hours for the delivery of outreach campaign communications for your account. You can also choose to configure the job status drop-down menu here. So the current default one is active, on hold, closed because we placed a candidate, and closed because we were unsuccessful. But you can use the add button to add additional choices. You can edit the verbiage to match your terminology. You can delete current choices on that drop-down menu. So these drop-down menus that I'm going to show you that are coming up here, all of these are completely configurable. And again, I go through all this in fine detail in the customization webinar. Now below that, you can also configure your job types for your account, which comes into play when you're adding a job, and also the job owner types, the drop down when you're adding a job and you're indicating who is the person that's the owner and what type of a role do they play. You can also configure your job tags for your account, right? So when you're adding a job, you can immediately click the job tag that's appropriate for that job, and you can use the add button to add as many job tags for your account as you wish, sort of general types of jobs that you're currently working, or constantly working rather. And you can actually assign a color code to each of these job tags, which is kind of cool, so that you can easily sort of view your jobs and segment them by color coding kind of thing. All right, further down on this customize page, you can also customize the menu for your job contact types, right? And also the person global status drop down menu. On the profile page or flyover page for every person in your database, there is a global status drop down menu so that you can easily sort of categorize every person in your database appropriately into the appropriate category here. Well, here's where you can customize that global status drop down menu. So the generic starter choices are contacted, in progress, applied, nurture, bad data, do not contact, shortlisted, hired, and hiring manager. But you can use the add button. You can change the verbiage here, make any changes you want. Further down, you can also configure your company global status drop-down menu. Same exact idea, but with regard to company profiles for companies that have been added into your database of companies in Loxo. Below that as well, you can configure your person types. In Loxo, you can easily segment all of the people in your database. So for example, commonly people want to segment them by candidate, or whether they're a contact, or whether they're a contractor or a vendor or a consultant, or this kind of thing. So you can add as many person types for your account as you wish, which makes it easy to segment. Like when you're using the Chrome extension, you're pulling someone in, you can immediately slot them into the appropriate person type category. Below that, same story with company types, right? You might have client or consultant, or this kind of thing, angel funding source or something or other, different types of companies that you work with in the course of doing business. You can also customize here or set up your address types. So whenever you're adding an address for a company, let's say, you might have different, like shipping address, main address, billing address, etc. Also email types, right? So on a person's profile page, they might have like 4 or 5 different types of emails. So here's where you can sort of customize what are the various types of emails that you want to be able to document on someone's profile page, and what is your lingo? What do you call these email types? Same thing with phone types, right? There might be like 5, 6, 7 different types of phones that are on someone's profile page, like their work phone, their home cell phone, their corporate cell phone, this kind of thing. So here's where you can configure that in Loxo for your account. Also, source types. Now, this is a big topic. Whenever you're pulling people into your database from outside sources, you want to be able to document that, so that if you're investing money in some of these sources in terms of advertising or having a membership at some of these websites or something like that, you can sort of see which ones are effective, which ones are you getting bang for the buck, so to speak, from these sources. So here's where you can add all of your various sources where you are pulling or finding candidates, right? You can create a source type for each of the ways that you're finding and pulling in candidates. And then you can also, next to the ones where we integrate with in terms of pushing job postings out to, you can indicate which of these ones by putting a check mark here do you want to be able to publish your job listings to. So for example, there are 7 big ones: Appcast, Career Builder, Glassdoor, Indeed, Simply Hired, Talentify, and ZipRecruiter. So if you want to push your job listings out to any of those job boards, you're going to put check marks there next to those job boards so that you're letting Loxo know, yes, these are the job boards we want to be able to push job listings out to. And then each time you add a job, there's a button, which I cover in the 101 training, that you'll put a check mark there to let us know to push that job that you're adding into your account out to the job boards that you have chosen to publish to here by putting check marks here. Now to the right of this as well, you can indicate if these source types are still currently active. Like sometimes you've added some source types, but you don't use them anymore because you didn't get bang for the buck. It didn't work, but you still want to be able to track that for future reference. So maybe it's not currently active anymore, but you still want it in your account. So that's up to you. Right? If you make any changes, if you add any source types, or if you change the active status, or if you change the publish status, make sure you hit the save button. All right, and that is it in terms of the customize button. As you can see, there is a ton of stuff that you can kind of tweak here with regard to the way your account will operate. Now let's keep working our way down under the My Agency area and go to integrations. This is where you can keep track of the integrations that you have set up with Loxo. Now currently the ones that we have done previously that are available to you are MailChimp, Broadbean, Career Builder, Text Recruit, HubSpot, Monster, and Indeed. Now, if there are other integrations that you're interested in, then chat with our support team using the question mark button down here and let us know about the integration that you're looking for, and we'll let you know if that's something that we can help you build through Loxo. Now, below integrations, you can also set up what fields are required when someone is adding information with regard to a company or a job or a person into your database. And if you make any of these fields required by flipping the switch to on, just make sure you hit the save button down here at the lower left, and those fields will be required when you're adding a person, a job, or a company. All right, now do not call list. This primarily applies to the voicemail drop feature, which, to be perfectly candid, is going away. We're not going to be using that, at least for the time being, because of some new FCC regulations or FTC regulations that have come into effect and are now being enforced. Voicemail drop is not an option that is available to us to use in the course of outreach campaigns. Now, that may change as sort of the politics of the situation evolves. And if it ever comes to pass that we are able to again use the voicemail drop feature, then we will make that available in the outreach campaigns tab when you're creating campaigns. And that's really when this do not call list provision comes into play. Loxo provides the ability to avoid sending voicemail drop messages to any phone numbers on national do not call lists. So this basically just allows you to indicate that you would like to confirm and agree to using this way of screening out any phone numbers that are on do not call lists. But again, this is all related to that voicemail drop feature, which has been turned off and is being phased out in the outreach campaign tool for right now. So take everything I just said about this with a grain of salt. It is still here on the off chance that the regulatory landscape, so to speak, changes and we are able to suddenly use voicemail drop again, then this will come into play again. All right, custom imports. We are able to do customized imports for you. And if we are doing any custom imports for you, this is where you're going to be able to track those. And if you want a quote on a customized import, contact us and we'll listen to the details about the customized import and we'll give you a quote. All right, below that, GDPR configuration. This is where you can enable or disable your GDPR compliance features. And it basically gives you a breakdown of how that works here. And if you make any changes to your GDPR standing or your compliance configuration here, just make sure you hit the save button down here at the lower left. Now, you can also set up your Loxo email domain so that you'll be able to use the bulk emailing option of sending out bulk emails or campaign emails through the Loxo servers. And as you can see here, the caveat is before sending any bulk emails, whether it's part of a campaign or a bulk email through the Loxo servers, you need to create a Loxo email domain. And by clicking on that button right there, we give you a help article that will walk you through that easy process. And you'll let us know at support if you have any problems creating your Loxo email domain. Now below that, you'll also be able to see under agency information, the Loxo forwarding email address that we have assigned to your account. We get that question at support all the time. They hear me talk about it in the 101 training, forwarding resumes to the forwarding address, which creates profiles for the person automatically in your account. So people afterwards are like, Dan, I've not gotten my resume forwarding email address, even though support sends it in an email, it often gets overlooked. So remember that when you're under My Agency, by clicking on Agency Information, this is where you can find your resume forwarding email address for your account, as well as the phone number that has been assigned to your account for outbound phone calls that are being made through Loxo. All right, we're almost done. Just a few more things here. Under customized workflow, this again is a big can of worms, much like customized. And this is something that I cover in that customizations webinar on Wednesday afternoons. And you can watch the video version of the customized workflow topic if you like. Basically, this is where you can customize the job pipeline for your account. The generic one typically is sourced, applied, contacted, submitted, interviewing, rejected, offer made, and hired. And for a lot of our users, that works beautifully. But for a good chunk of our users, they're like, Dan, this makes no sense for our workflow. We need to be able to customize this. So you can add as many stages to your job pipeline or your workflow as you wish. And again, I encourage you to watch the training video because we do not have time to do a 30-minute training just on customizing your workflow, but you can watch the video version. The idea is that you here on the customize workflow button have the ability to do two things. You can customize the job funnel or the job pipeline to have as many stages as you want, and you can call those stages whatever you want. And then in the activity drop-down menu that you'll find whenever you're adding a note onto someone's profile page, you can also customize all of the elements of that workflow activity drop-down menu. So each time that you're documenting, you can be hyper specific about what activity just happened. And so this page allows you the ability to customize that drop-down menu and also the job pipeline. And I think you'll find this invaluable to you as you begin to set up your account. So it matches your workflow and your terminology exactly. And again, let us know at support if you need any assistance with that. And please do watch the training video that I put together on customizing your workflow here. Then here you also have the ability to enable or disable your EEOC and OFCCP compliance features in Loxo. So if your situation requires that you are in compliance with the EEOC or the OFCCP, you're going to want to flip the switch to on to make sure that all of those tools in Loxo are turned on. Now finally, down here at the bottom, you'll have the third area of the settings page. Remember, it's My Settings, which everybody can access, My Agency, which is just for admins who are logging into the account, and Billing down here at the bottom, which is also for admins only. Two buttons here. First of all, you can add a payment method. So if you want to add a credit card number to pay your Loxo bill each month, you can easily do that and hit save. You could also delete outdated credit cards. So remove credit cards, add credit cards here for your auto payment methods. And under receipts, I don't think I have any to show you here. This is a demo account. This is where you'll be able to view all the receipts from Loxo that you have received, basically confirmation receipts after we build your credit card. So you'll be able to see that you're up to date on your payments and so on. And that is the account settings page. As you can see, there's a lot that you can tweak here for your account, whether you are a user logging into the account or whether you are an admin who is managing your account. And if you need any best practice advice or if you need clarification about any of the configurations that you make here under the settings page, again, use the question mark button here at the lower left to start chatting with us at support, and we'll be more than happy to huddle up with you. All right, thanks a lot for carving out the time for this. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.